haven't told me how you got it or who it belongs to.
And I don't intend to.
Yvette Vickers may not be a name many are familiar with, but fans of B-movie cinema will certainly recognise her. Not only did she star in the 1958 cult classic Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, but she also went on to appear in Attack of the Giant Leeches. Honestly, we're starting to see a theme here. The daughter of jazz musicians, it was expected Vickers would enter into the entertainment industry in some form, and while she modelled on the side and appeared in various gentlemen's magazines, her true passion was acting. Speaking about her pursuit of fame, the actress once said, "I always knew I wanted to try for a career in pictures, so I studied drama and worked in little theatres. But I was impatient for a talent scout to discover me. When I was 16, I bleached my hair as a bid for attention. I didn't know how to go about this and made many mistakes." By 1950, she'd scored her first big screen role with Sunset Boulevard, a film that eventually came to mirror her own life. Unfortunately, Vickers just never seemed to be able to break out into bigger name projects despite her beauty and talent. She fell into obscurity and began struggling with her own personal demons. By the end of her life, she'd become isolated and delusional, fearing people were out to get her. This, paired with her lack of notoriety, may have been why nobody noticed when she seemingly dropped off the face of the earth in 2010. When her life finally came to an end, it took almost a year for someone to find her, and what they discovered was a scene that would remain with them forever. Yvette Vickers was born in Kansas City, Missouri, on August 26, 1928, to jazz musician Charles Vedder and his wife. It's unsurprising they'd chosen to stay in the area, as the bustling city served as the birthplace of Kansas City jazz, a form of jazz that focused heavily on improv instead of the regular structured format associated with big band productions. As a child, Vickers travelled with her parents to their performances, which is where her father allowed his eyes to wander. He was a ladies' man, and his antics eventually led him and his wife to divorce and go their separate ways. Maybe this played a part in his daughter's terrible luck with love later in life, as she went on to have 3 short-lived marriages between 1953 and 1969. Despite coming from an entertainment family, it wasn't until Vickers attended UCLA that she took an acting class and discovered her love for the craft. She changed her major from journalism to drama and soon began pursuing a career in Hollywood. What started as small-time commercials eventually led to a modelling gig with White Range Shampoo, and it wasn't long before she was discovered by someone who would help launch her into the limelight.
I'm going out. Maybe I'll be back. Maybe I won't.
Now, as first movies go, the Academy Award-winning Sunset Boulevard isn't too shabby. Vickers was discovered by director Billy Wilder and offered an uncredited role, which allowed her to dip her toe into Hollywood and score other parts. For almost a decade, Vickers picked up small roles while trying to climb her way through the ranks of Hollywood. In 1957, she scored the part of Roxy in Reform Schoolgirl, with her image appearing on the film's promotional poster, a major step for any actress. While not necessarily groundbreaking, it brought her acting abilities to a wider audience and allowed Vickers to score her first proper leading role, one of the few she'd have over her career. The lead role Vickers earned came in 1958 with Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. She portrayed the beautiful Honey Parker, the town harlot and mistress of the male lead, William Hudson Jr., a classic B-movie from the 1950s. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman saw moderate success in theatres and wound up becoming a cult classic that's still beloved by many sci-fi fans. Some could argue that this was the peak of Vickers' career, as just a year later she landed her second leading role with Attack of the Giant Leeches, whereas Attack of the 50-Foot Woman focused on a giant alien. This B-film centered around huge intelligent leeches living in the Florida Everglades. Called a ludicrous hybrid of white trash and monster genres, it played upon the fears of the Cold War era, with one of the characters even theorizing that the leeches had been mutated by atomic radiation.
And I thought I was going to be a writer, but I took an acting class at UCLA and I really got the bug.
By 1959, Yvette Vickers had caught the attention of Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, who offered her the chance to be the magazine's Playmate of the Month in July 1959. The magazine had only been around for 6 years by this point and was trying to bring sexuality to the forefront at a time when society promoted modesty. Anyone appearing in it would be gambling with their careers. Vickers' blonde hair, blue eyes and beauty didn't just catch the attention of Hefner, she turned heads wherever she went and wound up having relationships with such big names as Cary Grant, Jim Hutton and Lee Marvin. While these never ended in marriage, she did wed 3 times, but all of them ended in divorce after only a few years. No matter how hard she tried to find love and companionship, she just couldn't find the one. As it would turn out, her failures in the love department would echo the end stages of her career. While Vickers was gaining new fans through her feature in Playboy, her on-screen roles began to dry up. She failed to find a leading part after Attack of the Giant Leeches, managing only to secure minor roles in the likes of 1963's HUD, starring Paul Newman and Beach Party. She even tried her hand at Broadway before returning to California and made the odd guest appearance on some of the era's most popular Western series, including The Rough Riders and Bat Masterson. While she tried to reinvigorate her career by auditioning for 1970's Switch, this failed to help bolster Vickers' star, and it wound up being her last acting job for 2 decades. It was the 90s by the time Vickers decided to try and revamp her career with the critically panned horror film Evil Spirits. However, just as she had 20 years prior, she was unable to translate this into bigger and better roles, ultimately falling into obscurity. Determined to keep herself in the limelight, Vickers recorded a jazz tribute album to her parents, along with a few other musical releases, and even began writing an autobiography about her life and career. But she was unable to secure a renewed place in Hollywood. The entertainment industry had moved on without her, and she found that to be a difficult pill to swallow. Toward the end of her life, Yvette Vickers became paranoid, believing people were stalking her and talking about her behind her back. She essentially became a prisoner of her own mind and became a recluse in a small 2-story house in Beverly Hills that she let fall into disrepair. Vickers began hoarding to the point where the interior of her house was unrecognizable, and soon black mold was growing everywhere, a health hazard that likely played a part in her declining state of mind. She also began to drink too much alcohol and soon became overweight. She stopped taking care of herself, and before long, the good looks that had landed her the centerfold of Playboy were gone. Fast forward to April 2011, when Vickers' neighbour Susan Savage made a gruesome discovery. After noticing the mail in the actress's mailbox had continued to pile up, and with other neighbours and friends not hearing from her, she decided to check in on Vickers, who didn't answer the door when she came to the house. Something was obviously wrong, and Savage wasn't about to leave without an answer. It wasn't easy, but Savage forced her way through a broken door. At first, it simply looked like the house of a hoarder. There were piles of clothing, wigs and boxes everywhere, and the phone was off its hook. However, she became concerned when she noticed the walls were falling apart. There was no way someone could be safely living in the residence. As she made her way through the house, Savage eventually came across something she couldn't discern. As it turns out, it was the withered and mummified body of her neighbour, Yvette Vickers. Speaking with the media, Savage recalled the horrific sight. "I didn't even realize it was a body," she said. "It was so compressed to maybe a third as thick as a human body should be." Police later said that the body had been there for a while, likely nearly a year based on the last time Vickers had paid her phone bill, and that foul play wasn't suspected in Vickers' death. The cause was later determined to be heart failure caused by coronary heart disease. She was ultimately cremated and her ashes given to her half-brother. Her state of advanced decomposition and mummification had been made possible by a combination of the Southern California climate and a space heater that had been left running in the house when she died. Shockingly, this type of discovery isn't all that uncommon in the Los Angeles area, with the coroner seeing around 2 to 3 mummified bodies each year. Upon learning of Vickers' death, Hugh Hefner told the media she lived a full life, but in those final years, the fact that she was able to die and not have friends who would be aware of it immediately, that is sad. What a truly sad and poignant sentiment. If there's one thing Yvette Vickers' life and career tells us, it's that success and fame aren't guaranteed in Hollywood. So many actors try and fail to break into the industry, and a string of good luck doesn't mean you'll be at the top forever. It might end with you living out the remainder of your life in obscurity, with no one to realize you're gone. If you like this video, please be sure to like and comment, and while you're at it, why not subscribe to get every new video we post here on the Vintage News. Thank you for watching. Until next time.